Early morning, November 6, 2024, as is my routine, I turned on the TV news channel. I saw the slide, Donald Trump, President-elect. Immediately, I turned it off. I'm Larry Fedoruk, and this is Later That Same Life. On each episode of my weekly podcast, a different topic, discussion, or story from our lives.
Season 14, Chapter 13.
Trump, back to the future.
To the future!
The sun had not yet risen, but it was dawn that caused me to sit there in silence, in the glow of a desk lamp and a blank computer screen. This had to be some trick. I was back to November 9th, 2016, shocked by the news. The impossible had happened. We spent the last 8 years analyzing how this may have happened once. But there we were. It happened again. Hey, America, fool you once, shame on Trump. Fool you twice, shame on you.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
It took about an hour for me to steel myself, several coffees and a few shots of Jack Daniels, before I could face the news. I love the smell of Jack Daniels in the morning. It smells like defeat. Hey, I'm kidding about the Jack, but not about the 1 hour and the coffees. Then I watched and I watched. The results, the analytics, the opinions. Donald Trump, President-elect. Republicans taking control of the Senate and Congress. And let's not forget their stranglehold on the Supreme Court. It's a lot to deal with, whether you are an American or not. The following is a summation of the days that followed. And before I start, may I recommend you go back and listen to my podcast episode 166 titled Election Overload. It was recorded and posted before Joe Biden ended his candidacy and just after the first assassination attempt on Donald Trump. It contains a lot of valuable information on liberal democracies as well as modern conservatism, illiberalism, and autocracies. The key point of that episode was that 2024 was a unique year in the history of the world. We set a record. 2024 saw at least 64 countries hold national elections. Some were a sham, Russia, Iran, Mexico. Others were a rejection of right-wing conservatism, Great Britain, France, Poland. The U.S. election was considered to be the one to watch. After all, the world's largest democracy, the world's largest economy, and quite possibly still the world's largest military power, they were voting for a new leader. America went right-wing conservative, and decisively so. Not only that, they went MAGA conservative. MAGA is a Trump-created brand, Make America Great Again. It's actually the white supremacist, misogynistic, homophobic dog whistle that has become a descriptor for a type of conservatism worldwide. Even in Canada, we ask, hey, do we want MAGA-style conservatism in our politics? Slowly, we just drop the word style and just refer to MAGA conservatives. The word doesn't really mean America anymore, or greatness. It's become its own idiom. So what happened? How did it happen? Why did it happen? How did American voters just forget, or at the very least discount, 4 years of Trump chaos and criminality? Hey, bartender, that was the worst drink I've ever had. So you know what? Another round for everyone. Well, there's plenty of blame to go around. I'll tell you who I feel most sorry for, Joe Biden. Well, he and Jim Gaffigan. Jim Gaffigan, he's a very successful New York comedian who actually lives a short Uber ride from NBC and 30 Rock, and yet has never hosted SNL. Hey, America, that's also a puzzlement. Then, granted after Steve Martin turned down the gig, Gaffigan lands the role of running mate Tim Walz in the cold opens for the 50th season of Saturday Night Live. Maya Rudolph returns as a spot-on Kamala Harris. Dana Carvey cameos as Joe Biden. Joe Biden. But guess what? By the way, it's no joke. I'm being serious right now. Andy Samberg, back in Studio 8H, is Harris's husband, America's first second gentleman, Doug Emhoff. James Austin Johnson as Donald Trump. Some genius casting with Bowen Yang as J.D. Vance. There was even the return of Alec Baldwin, not as Trump, but playing to precision a Fox News interviewer grilling candidate Harris. SNL enjoying weeks of star-studded, hilarious cold opens. And then a second Trump victory. Now what? Rudolph, Carvey, Samberg, even Baldwin. They are honor roll players. Johnson and Yang are current cast members in good standing. But what if Gaffigan? Really no need for a waltz impersonator anymore. Poor Jim Gaffigan. I've wondered, too, that with 4 more Trump years now, if Baldwin ever dusts off the old suit and wig, brings back his Donald, or is it James Austin Johnson now? Hey, how about the two of them together in some Trump split personality sketch? Well, we'll see. Now, in all seriousness, I do feel sorry for Joe Biden, at least potentially. Democrats have a problem with responsibility. Liberals in general, instead of taking responsibility, they look around for who to blame. There is a school of thought out there that blames Biden for the Democrats' loss in 2024. He didn't pull out early enough. Joe Biden, 50 years of public service, a U.S. senator, a vice president, takes on the challenge in 2020 and remains the only person to ever beat Donald Trump in an election. And yet factions within the party want his legacy to be the 2024 loss, to be remembered not for what he accomplished, but for what he didn't do. They want Joe Biden to take the fall. That's why I kind of feel sorry for him. I think he deserves better than that. Granted, there was probably some ego that kept him thinking about a second Biden term. But you don't survive 50 years in Washington without an ego. Some said he should have retreated as early as 2022 and allow more time for the process of a new candidate to begin. However, if Joe Biden announces in 2022 that he's a one-term president, then he pretty much has a lame duck administration. Plus, the Democrats would have started a pretty divisive process, possibly involving Gavin Newsom, hello Newsom, Mark Kelly, Josh Shapiro, maybe even Kamala Harris. Plus, as much as Democrats may want to blame sexism among American electors for the failure to elect Harris, I think even they overlooked her. Even though Biden had appointed her his VP, she was an Attorney General of California, an elected senator, and then on the winning ticket in 2020, still overlooked until the last minute. She was there the whole time. Instead, they gave Harris only 107 days to mount a full presidential campaign and try and break through that brick ceiling. That doesn't sound like a party with a clear plan, a defined path to victory. In record time, she did raise $1 billion, but it was too late to throw money at it. To her credit, she got a lot of momentum, ran a great campaign. And though she touted women's rights, she didn't campaign on being the first female president, but mainly as the best candidate, which she was. But once she was labeled a West Coast elite, it was an uphill battle. I knew the campaign was in trouble when it started to attract a who's who list of celebrities. Note to celebrities, I understand. You have a following. You feel you are an influencer. You have money. Maybe even a conscience telling you to do something with your celebrity power. But stay away from politicians running for high office. It only hurts their chances, especially liberal Democrats. Liberal Democrats already have a problem with being labeled as the liberal elite. I am a liberal Democrat, but I don't want to be yelled at by Oprah, or Beyonce, Katy Perry, Jennifer Lopez, George Clooney, Stephen Colbert, or even Bruce Springsteen. I'm a fan of all of those people, but think about it. Springsteen is the closest thing the Democrats have to a working class hero, a rock star who just sold his catalog for $500 million. Attention celebrities. hold your own rallies and fundraisers, tweet out your support, but do not offer to go on stage with the candidate. Eventually, in my opinion, it just turns off the voters. Donald Trump didn't need Hulk Hogan or Kid Rock either, and for different reasons. Democrats and celebrities, they don't mix, and even worse, they think they do. Then there's the celebrities within the party itself. I hold Barack and Michelle Obama in high regard, but I don't know how much they influence voters lately. Not that much, I suspect. The Clintons? I think they're just baggage now. I think they should just quickly endorse a candidate and then go away. It's bad vibes there. You know, Biden at least had the sense to just step away. Not Bill and Hillary. Under the guise of promoting Kamala, they saw this as an opportunity to promote Bill and Hillary. At first, the Kamala karma was good, real good. You know, you can run on joy. You just can't win with it. The Harris campaign focused too much on how bad a man Trump was, which is true. The Trump campaign focused on how much better Americans were under Trump, which is a lie. But the lie won. The lie won because it focused on personal wealth and the economy. That is what the conservatives have always touted as their strength. Just to review, liberal democracies hundreds of years ago were born out of the frustration with an autocracy known as the monarchy. Liberal Democrats wanted a better system where people were represented in the decisions that affected them. Conservatism was born out of the monarchy and a wish to hold on to their authority and their wealth. Conservatism has been about wealth for about 500 years or so, give or take, and today they translate that into the message of a thriving economy for the working class. Every few years, people believe them. I get it, the world runs on commerce. One person's spending is another person's income. I used to say that the United States of America was built on guns and slavery. But now I realize that guns and slavery were simply two of the main tools that they used to build commerce. It is the reason the U.S. is a giant, and ultimately the reason they are so divided. They became divided not in the pursuit of happiness, but in the pursuit of commerce. And in their some 250-year history, most of it happened in the last 50 to 70 years. Follow me on this, because the media role is crucial. I've covered some of this in previous podcasts. Industrial age, manufacturing, products, commerce. How to sell more and make more money. Henry Ford's famous 40-hour work week was not so much corporate benevolence, but a scheme he concocted with other captains of industry. The idea was to give people a fair wage, plus some free time, so that they would buy the products that were being manufactured. I mean, if all you did was work, why would you need to buy a car, or a new suit, or a radio set? Free up some of the workers' time, and then convince them that they need these things to fill that time. It was diabolical. Also, it used to be that if you built a better mousetrap, the world would beat a path to your door. And that happened for a while. But then Five Guys had a better mousetrap. So now what? Well, you had to advertise, market, sell. Great, but then everybody advertised. Advertising is its own billion-dollar bit of commerce. For the last approximately 50 years, the market has been broken down again and again and again. See, the mass market just wasn't where it was at. People now were in categories based on gender, age, location, education, and then further into psychographics, behavior, income, and ethnicity, and subcategories within all of those. All of it broken down just so that they could figure out a way for you to buy what they were selling. So you may well ask, what is the difference between a second-generation Catholic Cuban American in Florida with a college degree and an urban Midwestern working female tradesperson who enjoys skydiving. As in, don't they both need a washing machine and occasionally some Advil? True. And a good point to remember for a little bit later. I mean, yes, General Motors may advertise using media and market to just anyone who needs a car, and Sony to just anyone who wants a big TV. But they all study all those categories of the whims and habits of every category of a person to maximize their opportunity to sell you something. Then along came political strategists. These are just marketing people whose product is not soap or toothpaste, it's a politician. They too scour the data, looking for ways to get an advantage within a category, a voting bloc. And the news media in this case is complicit. We've heard so much about this, especially in the last 107 days. Kamala leads with suburban women. Trump favored by young white males. Who will win the Latino vote? Black men, millennials, Jews, seniors, unions, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, evangelicals, women named Jane, every possible category, constantly reported by the news. And then the news has the audacity to ask, hey, gee, why is America so divided? Come on, news, stop being so lazy. Think for a moment. Report this. America has just spent the last half-century dividing people up into every possible subgroup. And every subgroup, thanks largely to connectivity, has become its own tribe. Remember, we no longer form communities, we form tribes. And the division stokes fear and mistrust of the other. This is all a byproduct of the market, all in the name of commerce. And it's not just racists and segregationists and the isolationists. It's all of us who think we are promoting the right thing. Think about it. I'm expected to be loyal to my country, proud of my state and province and city, honor my roots, have faith in my church, and support my team, all of which are better than your crappy country, city, church, and team. And I do all this as an upper demographic, middle-class, suburban, professional, white male. Geez, how many categories am I in? Again, enough with all the things that divide us. How about more of the things that make us the same? Kamala Harris did not make a concession speech until 4 p.m. the day after the election. What she said was very telling about America.
But hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting.
I know that's not what she meant, but she nailed it. America's just not happy unless they're fighting.
As long as we keep fighting.
Joe Biden's post-election speech in the Rose Garden.
I've said many times, you can't love your country only when you win. You can't love your neighbor only when you agree.
Yeah, in my heart and soul, I believe that to be true. Yet, day to day, my brain cannot sanction MAGA conservatism. Why can't we all just get along? You know why? Because you're an idiot. That's where it's at. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? If liberal Democrats are to have a hope in hell in the U.S., Canada, and around the world, they have to once again become the party of the people. They have to stop acting like missionaries of the invading forces trying to civilize the natives. Stop telling me how I'm supposed to feel and act. It's not that I disagree with their principles. Just stop telling me what's good for me and do something that's good for me. Liberal Democrats have to strip away the smugness, the arrogance, the elitism. You know, if liberals in Canada did that, well, then they'd be the NDP, but that's another story. The NDP exists to be the conscience of our government. America, they have no conscience. They have 50 choices for breakfast cereal, 100 options for sneakers, and a cooler full of different energy drinks, but only 2 choices for who's going to run the country. Kamala had mixed messages. Trump spoke the language of money, the economy. It was subcategories versus the mass market. Maybe we are witnessing the return of the mass market. It's been said that liberal Democrats don't have a policy problem, they have a communication problem. Yeah, instead of acknowledging my gender and my demographic and my location and my status, how about you just acknowledge my humanity? At every political crossroad, we are asked to make a choice, go left or go right. And we choose. And as a result, we never go straight ahead. I'm going to end by quoting author and journalist Carlos Lozada, who wrote this for the New York Times. Stop pretending Trump is not who we are. That's a good message for the Democrats. Stop pretending Trump is not who we are. Lozada goes on to ask, did Trump change America or did he reveal it? In Lozada's opinion, he changed the country by revealing it. He also said, throughout Trump's life, he has embodied every national fascination. Money and greed in the 1980s, sex scandals in the 90s, reality television in the 2000s, and social media in the 2010s. Why wouldn't we deserve him now?
Later That Same Life is written, produced, and voiced by Larry Fedoruk. Larry Fedoruk, 37 @gmail.com. Subscribe to Larry's podcast YouTube channel. Get automatic notifications with each new episode.